Hello, everybody, and welcome in to 270 weather for the 270 area code and beyond. I'm Chris Allen, birthday boy. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Wait a minute. Let's see here. I have little gadgets with this platform, and let's see here. Yes, it's my birthday. Oh, you like that? Yeah, okay. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, so yeah, November 30th is my birthday. And we've got some interesting weather that is moving in. Not so much right now. I think we're going to be just fine as we head into tonight. No weather worries tonight anywhere. Or really tomorrow for that matter. Let me throw this piece of paper away over here. Um, yeah, really nothing tomorrow. So if you're worried about tomorrow, here in the 270, no concerns. No concerns at all. Everything is going to be pretty dry. We'll see an increase in clouds as we go through the day tomorrow, but nothing incoming, not until I would say later on Monday evening. For us here, Bowling Green, Southern Kentucky, much of Middle Tennessee, we're fine tonight and much of the day tomorrow. So if you're worried about tomorrow, like going to work or going to a doctor's office visit, or those of you that go back to school tomorrow, no, we're good. We're going to be good. I don't think there's anything. I'll get specific with the timing here in just a moment. As last night I showed you a lot of how this thing could go, how the low pressure system could track, and if it takes a certain track, then maybe we'll have to make some adjustments to the forecast. But for now, it is not bad. Let's check out the numbers from today, this Sunday, November 30th. Here at the Bowling Green Airport, we had an official high of 47. That's 7 degrees colder than the normal of 54. And we had a low of 35 this morning. Now you see that 400ths of an inch of precipitation, that actually came yesterday just before midnight. So, and there may have been a little bit of light rain or drizzle left over early this morning, but most of that you saw there came yesterday. All right. We'll get to the specifics on the forecast in just a moment. But first, have you thought about what you're going to do if the power goes out? What you're going to do when they come for you? Oh, wait, that's a whole different. What they're going to do when they come for you? Yeah, okay, sorry, I got sidetracked. Everything to me is a song, okay? Because I have music in my head 24 hours a day. So anyway, what you going to do when the power goes off? I'm not saying it will, but there's that possibility. You never know. And with the weather forecast that I'm looking at over the next, well, even the long range forecast is going to show several opportunities for maybe some wintry weather to cause a disruption in your power grid. In other words, the electric company that you pay every month, the power company, an interruption in that. It's very likely. So, wouldn't it be nice if you had one of these? That is a Generac generator. Now, they've got them in different sizes, different kilowatts, from small to huge, whether it's for a home or whether for it's a business. Generac can take care of you. They've been doing this for years, and so has R&R Controls to help you stay in business and stay running even at home. The Generac is the number one name in generators, and they are the authorized dealer for sales, service, installation, and more importantly, preventative maintenance. In other words, keeping it on a regular schedule to be checked out by the guys at R&R Controls. They come out, they have it on their calendar automatically to come out every so often and check your generator to make sure it's ready for when the power does go off. So you should give R&R Controls a call tomorrow, I would say. Everybody's back to work tomorrow. So give them a call. 270-777-2024. That's the number, 270-777-2024. Or you can hit them up on their website there, rnrhvac.com. They also have Facebook page. Leave them a direct message there, and they will get in touch with you. Financing is not a problem. They can work that out for you too. And for those of you who are not even watching from around here, R&R Controls is centered out of Brownsville, Kentucky, but they go to other states. In fact, they're working some jobs right now in other states, installing HVAC units, installing Generac generators. They get it done. So don't worry about if you're not in the 270. Get a hold of them anyway and see what they can do for you, because you do not want to be without, and R&R Controls will make sure you're never without power, heating, cooling, ventilation, automation, and preventative maintenance. R&R Controls. All right. Well, where did my radar go? I had it up here. Sorry about that. Blank screen there. Okay. Now we're good. Now we're cooking. Okay. Now we're getting into the crux, if you will, the nitty gritty of this system that's coming in. And I've noticed today there's a lot of stuff going on. You know what I find a little bit laughable is, it's like when you turn on, and I've got it on over here, I'll have to confess, back here on this monitor is the weather channel. But I have it on where it's just, I'm kind of monitoring, what they're chattering about, with these storms. And what the first thing I find funny is that they name winter storms. The one coming in is like Chan. Winter storm Chan is going to blow in, and it's, oh my goodness, Chan. Whew, my goodness. Who came up with that? I get naming hurricanes, but winter storms? Ah, I don't think anybody really pays attention to that. But the other thing is that here we are talking about a winter storm, which they have named, and they're showing some trucker wrecker thing, some kind of reality show where they're out getting crashed trucks off of the interstate or back roads. And I'm like, you call yourself the Weather Channel, but then you do this. And I know some of you are thinking, well, what about you and Jim Cantori are friends? Yes, we are. And even he wished me a happy birthday today. Jim did not forget me. Thank you, Jim. He works there, but you know what? He doesn't agree with everything that they do there. He has issues with remember when they used to run movies? And then when severe weather was happening, they said, well, we can't interrupt a movie. We're running a movie, so we can't. Remember that? Yeah. They stopped running movies after a while. Oh, the good old days when it was really the Weather Channel. So here's the deal. The Weather Channel's been all over this. Every weather outlet has been all over this, but I'm going to show you specifically how this next storm is going to affect not only the 270, but surrounding areas, because it's not going to be that big of a deal. For some, it will, for others, it won't. So I'm going to start here with the outlook. This is the winter weather outlook showing impact. These bright white shaded areas is just indicating there might be some kind of little impact, maybe early tomorrow, but more so back into Missouri. Let's go to day 2, which is tomorrow. And you see now, for the first time this season, you see that it does take in the Bowling Green area, all of I-65, the Western Kentucky Parkway, the Bluegrass Parkway, and so forth and so on. Even parts of northwestern Middle Tennessee and northwest Tennessee. It doesn't get into the minor category, some of this yellow shades, until you get into parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, parts of Ohio, but really starts to ramp up here once you get into the higher elevations in West Virginia, and even North Carolina. By Tuesday, this is pretty much gone. So combine all 3 days together, and this is what it looks like. Okay. So, yes, there's going to be this not even a minor impact, but there's going to be just a subtle, let's call it, they should call this gray or light blue area that kind of looks white or gray. They should call it nuisance, a nuisance category, because that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's not going to be anything overwhelming by any stretch. But because it is the first winter system of the season that could produce some minor accumulation, then the National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory for some of Western Kentucky and parts of the 270. This is going to go into effect from midnight Monday night, tomorrow night, not tonight, tomorrow night, and then through 9 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday. Mixed precipitation expected. Total snow and sleet accumulations up to 1 inch, and some ice accumulations around a light glaze. Again, a nuisance. A nuisance. Roads, especially bridges and overpasses, will likely become slick and hazardous, mostly in that western part of the 270. Now, this is exactly what I said last night. This is verifying what I said last night. If you were watching, I said, draw a line. Remember I did this? Let me go back here and show you. Remember I said, draw a line from Paducah along the Western Kentucky Parkway and then the Bluegrass Parkway. And, whoops, north of that area, well, the pen just kind of messed up on me. But north of that area is where you would have the better chance of getting some icy accumulation and maybe a little snow. Let me refresh this to get that pen off of there. Okay. So, yes, so that's exactly, and look for probably, I would say, not only this area, but say Ohio, Grayson, maybe LaRue, Nelson, so forth and so on, counties up and along and north of the Bluegrass Parkway to be put in a winter weather advisory as well. They just haven't done it yet because they're waiting for a little bit more data to come in, just a little bit more to fine tune this, because they don't want to put a bunch of counties under a winter weather advisory if it's not necessary. And you may be thinking, what does a winter weather advisory mean? Well, it says it here. Mixed precipitation, total snow and sleet accumulations up to 1 inch, and ice accumulations around a light glaze. So that's their reasoning for putting this out. But this was issued by the Paducah National Weather Service office and not Louisville. So we'll wait and see what Louisville, they will chime in. They just haven't yet. Let's look at impacts. Oh, here's something you didn't know I could do. Check this out, baby. Look at this. Around in those purple shaded counties in the Paducah CWA, which is the county warning authority or um, jurisdiction, if you will, county warning area. There you go. 371.5 thousand people affected, 170,000 homes affected. I know that sounds like a lot, but really it's just kind of the western section of the state. Affected areas include Owensboro, Madisonville, Princeton, Central City. That would also include Greenville, Murray, Henderson. That's just a few towns. And then you see school systems, 150, or actually individual schools, not systems, but individual schools. Colleges and universities, child care centers, private schools. Then they break it down. This is pretty cool, and it will come into play should we have, a real big severe weather event. In this case, the greatest impact is going to be the possibility of some slick roads. Now, you're probably wondering about these green shaded counties back into southern Illinois. That is a special weather statement, also issued by Paducah, talking about brief snow and sleet possible Monday night. Monday night, not tonight. So, what's going on tonight? I can tell you that everything is quiet. Here's a look at current radar as of 6:49 on this Sunday evening, November 30th. Nothing coming in. Some clouds, maybe high clouds, will start to move in tonight, but that's the extent of it. Okay. Nothing else. Nothing else. All right. So we move from that to what the Weather Service has officially put out and updated this evening. And here it is. Now, I'm going to follow along here for you so that you get to read what I get to read. All right. Let me see if I can make that just a little bit bigger. No. Okay. I'll just leave it like this. You can see where the best setup for snowfall amounts of an inch or more is again going to be right along the Western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways north. And even there, we're talking about between 1 to 2 inches. That's still considered a low end nuisance kind of snow. If you were looking for something bigger because social media said it was going to be bigger, sorry. That's why you shouldn't pay attention to some of the yahoos on social media talking about the big storm that's going to come in and oh my God. Nope, this is not going to be it. Confidence is in the medium to high range from the National Weather Service, and that's because we are now closer to the actual event. It's going to start tomorrow night and go into Tuesday morning. And really, the greatest impact is going to happen, I think, Tuesday morning, because by that time we will have a little bit of precipitation, some rain, some sleet, some snow, even down here in Bowling Green in southern Kentucky. But then the temperature is going to get down to about 29, 30. Well, that instantly is going to mean slick roads, not everywhere, but untreated roads, bridges, overpasses, back roads, there will be some icy roads. That's going to happen Tuesday morning as you get ready to go to school, go to work. Tomorrow morning, you are fine. Fine. So here they explain what I was just talking about, that mix of rain, sleet. There could even be some freezing rain. And if surface temperatures get cold enough on a bridge or overpass, then it would be freezing rain. Rain coming down, but freezing on contact. Southern Indiana should see mostly snow. So anything along or north of the Ohio River, that's where the better setup for snow is going to be. Now, this is interesting. Bands of moderate to heavy snow are possible early Tuesday morning. Now, if you looked at this and you read only that statement, then you would go around telling people heavy snow's coming Tuesday morning, right? This is why I say it's important to take all of this in context, in the way it should be presented and delivered to you guys. You can't just read that one statement and go, oh, well, we could get a big snow. No, no, I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. So all this means is if we get cold enough air and we get enough, say, this almost like instability in the spring and summer, when you get that little setup like that, you can have these bands of moderate snow, sometimes heavy snow, where the snow comes down hard and it looks like it's going to do something really big, but then it doesn't. Then it goes away. That's what this is talking about. And in those locations north of us, closer to the Ohio River or north of the Ohio River, that's where the better setup to pick up 1 to 2 inches of snow. But there could be somebody that gets more than that, but not a lot more. The main window for accumulating wintry precipitation is expected between midnight and 7 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday. So let's say 11 to 6 a.m. Central Time. Now, this is the impact map I just showed you. You know, the light blue, grays, winter weather area, some issues, very nuisance. That's the word I used. I wish they would use it here. It's a nuisance area. That's about it. You'll have to watch for a slick spot or two Tuesday morning. That's it. North of Louisville, north of the river. That's where there's going to be this minor impact. And even there, it's not going to be that big of a deal, even with 1 to 2 inches of snow on the ground, if that's what they get. Heavier snowfall amounts possible. And again, this is exactly where I showed you it would be. North of the parkways, north of the Western Kentucky and Bluegrass parkways. These are the percentages chance that you would get greater than 2 inches of snow. Again, Louisville, Frankfort, Lexington, Cincinnati, Jasper, Indiana, maybe Owensboro, Seymour, Indiana, places like that. But here in Southern Kentucky, look, nothing. We may get a little bit, and maybe somebody might get an inch, but that's it. Ice and snow, take it slow. They love to rhyme at the National Weather Service, but it's to help you remember these things like this. So, as you know, I don't have to tell you because my audience is smarter than the average bear. You guys are not what I refer to as low-hanging fruit, the gullibles that are out there going, gee, what do I do? OMG, what should I do? You guys get it. I don't have to preach to you or state the obvious or even give you a bit of common sense. You already have it, or you wouldn't be tuning in here because I tick off the people that don't have any common sense. They don't listen to me because they think they're smarter than everybody else. But then you guys get it. So I don't have to tell you. There's going to be some icy spots. Slow it down. All right, let's go to the Kentucky Mesonet Network now and check out some current conditions. These current conditions are setting us up for what's coming. Right now, temperatures are in the upper 20s to low 30s, but skies are clear. There's no precipitation falling tonight anywhere here. There's not going to be any in the morning, and for the most part, none tomorrow until we get into, say, about this time tomorrow night. So you got a full 24 hours of dry, chilly weather. All right. What about, let's see, I want to look at high temperatures for today. Let's check that out. Let me get this. Let's see where we were. Okay, most of us ended up in the mid 40s today. There were some lower 40s back here in Western Kentucky after starting out in the 20s this morning, upper 20s and low 30s. Winds right now are from the north. That's key. That's key. And we're going to keep winds from the north and a little northeast based on the track of the low pressure system, which is going to throw that cold air back into Kentucky as it moves northeast of us. So it's going to throw that moisture or that cold air back into the moisture as it arrives. And there you go. 2 + 2 = 4. And sometimes 2 times 2 = 4. Oh, wait, I'm being told that that's all the time as well. Again, just messing with you guys. All right, here we go with the maps. Here's the current setup. We've got a cold front. Things are quiet. They're going to be quiet for the rest of tonight and all day tomorrow. Here comes our system from out west. Look at this. Now, this is tonight crossing over the Rockies and will move out into the plains as we get into the day tomorrow. Here is midnight tonight, high pressure that's sitting over us right now that is giving us, well, it brought us the sunny sky today and the chilly winds. It was chilly today. The winds made it feel even colder. But now that high pressure ridge is going to move east, allowing this storm, this is the one coming in. Here we go into Monday morning, 6 a.m. Everything's fine here in Kentucky, Tennessee, the Mid-South region. But here comes our low, and the track of the low is going to kind of dig deep into the south. And that's going to be key as well, because you've got the cold air established here on top of us. And then here comes the storm system. Now, here it is. Now, this is going to have a little push of moisture out ahead of the main low pressure system. In fact, there's going to be a low that forms, upper low, surface low that forms in the Gulf. And that is what's going to send the surge of moisture northward. So south of us, it's going to be pretty much all rain, but parts of Arkansas, say tomorrow about noontime, we'll see a kind of a changeover or a mix of some sleet and rain together. And then it's all snow once you get in, say, up toward Kansas City, Des Moines, central Illinois, and surrounding areas. Now, here is that low now transversing out of the Gulf, pushing another piece of energy into southern middle Tennessee, northern Alabama. And you can see how it tries here. Let me zoom back in to send us in a little wintry, mixy kind of setup. I do think most of the precipitation we get as it starts and goes into tomorrow night will be rain for much of the 270 and Bowling Green, southern Kentucky, middle Tennessee. Back to the west, As the air has had time to cool off a little bit more, that's where you begin to see this. Well, it's going to maybe mix in a little sleet or freezing rain in with the rain, and then it goes to all the blue, which is snow. Here, this is 6 p.m. tomorrow evening, around this time. Here we go, 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, and notice that it changes everything from rain to a mix to a little bit of snow. But I do not think the period of snow that we're going to get here along the I-65 corridor, including Bowling Green, Southern Kentucky, I just don't think the snow period is going to be that long. Maybe a couple hours, say 2 to 4 a.m. Tuesday morning, maybe 3 to 6 a.m. before it all begins to move east. As you can see, this is 6 a.m. Tuesday, and this has a pretty good handle on balancing where the rain is going to be, where the mix is going to be, and then where the snow is going to be. But this is not even heavy snow. So that's why I'm saying it's not like the system yesterday or the day before now that was a nothing burger. This will be a something burger, but not that big of a deal. This will be a burger with the buns and maybe some cheese. But the special sauce and all the other stuff, pickles, onions, lettuce, not there. So there's a little something there, but it's not enough to be alarmed about. But I think the number one thing we're going to have to be aware of Tuesday morning is a glaze of ice, especially bridges and overpasses, maybe some back roads or untreated roads. So Tuesday morning, not tomorrow, not Monday, Tuesday morning, when you wake up, that's when there will be the greatest impact on everything right there. 6 a.m. Tuesday. Then this thing moves out pretty quickly. High pressure builds in. The sun comes back out before sunset on Tuesday. We get into another chilly stretch of weather here where temperatures don't get out of the 40s and lows don't get out of the 20s. It's kind of going to be that way for the rest of the week. Some fog maybe even setting up for Wednesday morning. And if we get as cold as the predicted 21 for Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, this could be freezing fog. Yes, fog can freeze because it's moisture. So some of that could freeze on a bridge or overpass, causing an icy spot Wednesday morning. But the snow and all that will be gone, long gone. Here we go into Thursday, pretty quiet. Oh, look at this now. Chris, you didn't tell us that there was another system. Yeah, I did. Watch last night's podcast. Here comes another one. This one, not quite as wintry, shall we say, than the one that's coming tomorrow. This one's going to be mostly rain, even though it shows us in this period of a little mix here. Friday morning, it will be cold enough with the moisture coming in to maybe see some mixed precipitation. But look, it all changes to rain. Friday, midday, afternoon, Friday night into Saturday. This is Saturday morning. Rain. And rain on the parades? Yeah. See, Saturday is the big Christmas parade day. Bowling Green, Glasgow, the big Glasgow parade, which I'll be doing again this year, live on News 40, by the way, Saturday night, so you can watch it live. Then you've got Munfordville, you've got Morgantown, Cave City, Litchfield. Yeah, you've got a bunch of them. Scottsville. There's a whole list of parades this coming Saturday. And yeah, there's going to be rain. It may not be a lot, but there will be rain. And there's even rain into 6 a.m. Sunday morning as a cold front comes by. But it stays all rain. And that's because temperatures, from what I'm seeing right now, are going to be right there just above freezing so that we don't have to worry about anything any worse than that. So it's all looking like rain for Christmas parades this coming Saturday into early Sunday morning. Let's go the different map route here, and this is the European latest model update. Yep, I'm making sure model run, got the right one. Okay, here we go with right now, quiet, Monday morning, quiet, Monday midday, quiet, but here comes our moisture. Now, I want you to notice something. This is a notable to put out here. This darker blue line is in the line in which we call the freezing line, in which things have a tendency to switch over from, you know, liquid precipitation to frozen precipitation, but not at all cases. This is a height. This isn't something up in altitude. So usually it tells us, even somewhat closer to the ground, that some of the precipitation could change over. But I still believe that because that line is being shown north of us, this is Monday evening, actually. Monday evening. I think it starts as rain, mostly for us. Then we'll see a changeover late Monday night into early Tuesday. That pretty much verifies what we just saw. And notice that dividing line there, that freezing line, is just a bit north of us. Yes, it can still snow at, like I said last night, 35, 36, 37, 38 degrees. It all depends on how deep or how shallow that cold air is above us. If it's closer to the ground, then snowflakes will fall because snowflake will still hold together even if there's a little bit of warm air at the surface. But if there's enough cold air established near the surface, then it could be freezing rain, it could be sleet, it could be snow mixing in with the rain. If it were warmer, then it may fall as snow or ice above us, but because of the warm air underneath, then whatever's frozen would then melt before it hits the ground. That's going to be the case in some places. So again, we're on the fence. We're right there on the fence again, and again and again. That's where we live, due north of the Gulf, Kentucky. That's why we can never seem to establish a big, big snow. Sometimes it will happen, and I think it will happen this season. I do. This is not going to be that. Here we go into Wednesday, Thursday. Let's get into the upcoming weekend with Christmas parades. Here's Friday. And look, again, we're right there on the fence. Yes, there could be a little bit of light snow mixing in with rain as we head into, say, Friday night, Friday afternoon, Friday evening. But the European model doesn't let it linger. It moves it out pretty quickly and changes most of it to rain. Okay, so there is that take on that particular situation. Let's go to the model, the blend of models. And here you go. This is throwing in all the different models, producing an output. If you were to imagine putting all the different modeling into a blender, hitting the stir button, blend, and then pouring it out. This is the pour out. 30s, 40s, and look at this, even at the end of this period, December 10th, which would not be this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, we go back into the 50s. That's really normal for this time of the year. These 30s and 40s that are showing up, that's below normal temperatures. And you knew it was coming because we've been talking about it. I talked about it last week, how the long range models were showing colder than normal and maybe a little wetter than normal. And look at these lows, 20s and 30s across the board. Most of these days, it is going to be below freezing at night. So, if any precipitation falls, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be snow. It just means even if you get rain for some reason, a chilly rain, it is going to be a situation where you wake up like Monday morning or even Tuesday morning. I'm sorry, not Monday morning, that's tomorrow. Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning, those are the 2 days where you could wake up and have something icy on the roads. Tomorrow morning, you're fine. It is not going to be a problem tomorrow morning. Okay, let's go through some of the comments here. Oh, I'm getting a lot of birthday stuff. Eddie and Lisa, happy birthday. Thank you. Rick, we are blessed with your weather presents. Let the snow hit us hard, get it over. Well, okay. It's not going to hit hard. Not for us, I don't think. Not this time. But there will be a time that comes, I guarantee. Cheryl, Edmonson County had theirs tonight. Oh yeah, your Christmas parade was tonight. That's one of the ones that tries to every year, it seems like, get your parade in early. So you had a good night for it. I mean, it's chilly, but at least it's not raining, it's not snowing. So Brownsville, Edmonson County, the home of R&R Controls, you had your Christmas parade tonight. So I hope that it all went well. So I'm seeing a lot of birthday congratulations here and wishes. Larry, thank you. Betty, thank you very much. I mean, there's so many here. I can't get them all. Let's see. Sly Fox. Which type of weather is the hardest to predict? Snow. Any kind of wintry weather, snow, ice, freezing rain, sleet, because it all depends on the temperature above you and the temperature below or on the ground. Because if you've got enough warm air on the ground, whatever falls may fall as snow or ice. But then if there's enough warm air layer near the ground, well, it's all going to melt and change to rain. But if there's this wedge of colder air, warm versus cold, there may be that time when it's cold enough near the ground to keep an ice pellet or a snowflake intact, frozen before it hits the ground. And if you get enough deep enough cold air, then it will be all snow. But we live in that area that is just in between, and it may not always be that way. That's why it's the hardest thing to predict. And that's why you'll see just a variety of takes from different weather sources on social media as to how it's going to turn out. Let me just say, if you're expecting the bottom line, if you're expecting a big what I call a trackable snow, where you walk through the snow and you put an imprint in the snow, like 3 inches or more, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not here. Maybe way up in Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, maybe. But here it's going to be a dusting to maybe an inch, but most of the precipitation that falls tomorrow night into Tuesday morning is going to be rain mixed with some sleet and snow, maybe even some freezing rain. But you may get like I said, just a little bit. But I think the greatest takeaway here is that Tuesday morning, it is going to be cold enough to whatever precipitation falls is going to cause icy, icy conditions Tuesday morning. That doesn't mean that there's going to be ice covering the power lines and we're going to have blackouts and it's going to be, oh my gosh, cars sliding off all over the place. I don't think it's going to, I don't think it's going to be that. But there will be some icy spots, mainly on bridges and overpasses. And then just a nuisance storm. And that's it. One of those things that just kind of, like remember that time the fly was flying around here when I was doing this? And it was like I was swatting at it and it's like getting it to go away. It's going to be like that, enough to irritate you just a little bit. And then it's going to go away. That's it. All right. Thank you guys for watching and listening to 270 Weather and supporting my sponsor, R&R Controls. They do appreciate it, and they hope that you had a great Thanksgiving. And I had one. I had a great Thanksgiving. You probably have seen some of the photos on social media. And I had a great birthday. And if you're wondering, 39. Looking pretty good for 39, right? Right? Yeah, I thought so. 30. Okay, I'm being told that that's a lie. So my real age is, and I don't mind saying, 63. I am 63. Do I look 63? Oh, be careful how you answer that. I think I'll shut this down right now before you have a chance to answer. But 63. I'll see you guys in the morning. I'm back at News 40 at 6 a.m. for sunrise, then again at 9 a.m. and noon. God bless you, and thank you for watching.